Hey everyone, welcome to Module 3, Orchestration and ML Pipelines. I'm Jeff Hale, I'm a developer advocate with Prefect, and if you've seen the data engineering Zoomcamp videos, you might recognize me from those. I'll also be joined by Sahil and Bianca, and they're both part of the Prefect team that'll be supporting you here in the course. So I'm super excited to be with you and to be helping you learn how you can use Prefect for orchestration and making sure that your ML pipelines are resilient. So in this first little introductory video, I'm going to be talking about workflow orchestration and what it is, and how Prefect can help solve some needs. So you might have an MLOps workflow that looks something like this. It's not terribly different from some of what you saw in the most recent videos. Maybe you have a database that gets some data fetched by some Python script that is using some pandas code to clean it up, perhaps maybe do a little bit of munging and moving around of data, changing some D types, all that kind of stuff. And maybe the data gets saved out to a Parquet file as a checkpoint, maybe it gets read back in later, maybe it gets saved to a database. Lots of possible ways you can use things here. And then maybe scikit-learn's used for some feature engineering or actually running some models. And you might have XGBoost to run a model. And MLflow might be tracking everything. Maybe it's being backed by a database and information is being written back and forth. And then say finally that your model is being served via Flask or something like Fast API or some other framework. And this is being used by users on the wild. And you could have lots of different variations on this kind of workflow, but it's a common case that we have something that looks somewhat like this. And note that we might have failure points at lots of different parts of the workflow here. So anytime we have data that's being manipulated in some way, being written, being read, there's a possibility that things will not work out quite how we like. If you've worked with code for very long, you know that things often break. As Werner Vogels, the AWS CTO, says, everything fails all the time. Might be a slight exaggeration, but certainly when we have all these different systems and they're working together, things do fail quite a bit. So if you are an MLOps engineer and you are being asked by your boss perhaps, could you just set up this pipeline to train this model? Okay, that sounds reasonable, right? That's something that we can all do. Could you set up some logging for that? We may have some logging already a little bit from MLflow, but maybe we want to log that we're getting some data in, doing lots of different things. Okay, maybe we can set up some logging. Maybe we want this to run on a schedule. Say you wanted to have it happen every day. Could you set that up? Well, sure. It takes a little bit of work to get things going with cron. You need some kind of server to kick things off, right? But we could figure out some way to do that. What about if you made it retry if it failed? Okay, this can be a little trickier here, but sure, we could write some code, spend some time, make sure that things guard against some of this failure. And could you send a message when it succeeds? Well, that seems like something reasonable that we could probably do, but actually it'd be kind of tricky. We gotta figure out a number of different things there it's depending on the kind of message. Maybe it's a Slack message or a mail server or something we need to use for email. That's getting to be some work. What about visualizing dependencies? Potentially, we might have a lot of different dependencies in a pipeline, and that could be tricky. If we want to make it really flexible and really make it so it could go lots of different directions, that can get fairly complicated. Could you add some caching? So this way we don't have to rerun something if maybe our inputs haven't changed or some other condition's been met, then we can save some time, save some space. That's all good. But caching is one of those hard things in computer science, right? It's a tricky thing to do. And could you add some collaborators? Say you're working as part of a team. Maybe you have somebody who isn't so technical. Maybe they're using some of the work you're doing for more of a business intelligence use case. But they want to kick something off. Can they also run this? Maybe from a UI? Ooh, going to be a lot of work here, right? A whole lot of work. So you often see that people spend lots and lots of time trying to get all these things to work. So this is where Prefect comes in. Prefect allows you to orchestrate and observe your Python workflows at scale and with a lot of flexibility. So we could have thrown in some asynchronous easy asynchronous code options. We could have Ray or Dask for parallelization across multiple machines in our previous examples. We could throw in lots of different cloud providers or other data tools. So Prefect makes all this fairly simple. This is what the Prefect UI can look like in just a snapshot here, where we can have fairly complicated dependency graphs and have the ability to observe our workflows and see what the state of those workflows is. So Prefect provides these tools for working with complex systems, and the goal here is that you can stop wondering about your workflows. So for Module 3, what are we going to do? We're going to try to help you make sure you learn how to use Prefect to orchestrate and observe your ML workflows. I look forward to seeing you in the future videos.